From the City of Angels, you're listening to the James Salazar Media Podcast. On today's episode, we're going to read headlines from the world of futurism. So let me strike the music and I'll meet you on the other side.
Engage.
Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Say hello to my little friend.
I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody.
And what's up, savages? And welcome to the James Salazar Media Podcast. I am your host, James Salazar. On today's episode, we're going to read the headlines on Futurism.com. It's been a while since we have done this, and there's a lot of news to get to, so we need to jump right in, my friends. Let's jump in. And our first headline, China gives GPS tracking wristwatches to 17,000 kids. Obviously, to track them in case someone tries to steal them, but as this next headline may reveal that Chinese government may not be so thoughtful. Google terminates its search engine plans for the Chinese because every time they deal with the Chinese government, they always want Google to put algorithms to spy on their own citizens. So I put those two together for you to figure it out. If you make a Big Brother on your wrist since you're a child, you don't know no different, right? I mean, people who never had free speech won't miss that they don't have it, right? Because they never had it. It's only when you have something and it's taken away do you get upset. Do you feel the loss? So therefore, if these kids are growing up with a watch that tracks everywhere they go, it'll be like walking a crosswalk and stopping at the red sign, right? None of us have a problem doing that, but that is collectively telling us you need to stop because of danger. And I'm pretty sure it is wise to have that. But we all agree in society that when that turns red, we all stop. And they're agreeing as a society that it's okay for the government to track you. YouTube autocomplete feature has a huge spoiler problem. So what's going on here is that here's the spoilers, okay? Here's the spoilers for movies. So don't. I mean, I'm gonna give a spoiler to Endgame. I'm gonna give a spoiler to the last movie of Harry Potter. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. So what's happening? You go into YouTube and you just want to refresh up on what's happening or just get a little bit of information, but you'll type in Tony Stark and the autocomplete will say Tony Stark dies. And you're like, what? I didn't want to know that. Or Harry Potter, or you put in Harry Potter and it says, why did Harry Potter die and come back alive in the last movie? So the autocomplete in YouTube is spoiling stuff for fans, and they're trying a hard way. It's a hard way to, and I'm pretty sure they're gonna probably give you an option if you want autocomplete or not, or they may not do nothing at all, and you just have to suck it up and watch the movie first and stop looking for some info or some explainers. So that's sort of funny, but I guess not if you haven't watched it. In advanced transportation, Tesla owner breaks record driving a car 900,000 kilometers. And that is almost 600,000 miles. A new world record for any model Tesla. And it was a Model S P85, so that's cool. That's a feather in the hat of Tesla. Tesla employees admit using electrical tape to fix the Model 3. They're using duct tape to fix the problems. Let's see. That's funny. Employees also allege that the production was so fragile that some cars ended up missing bolts, nuts, and lugs. Obviously, not a great look. Loose connections could end up causing trouble later, I guess. And a little duct tape solves everything. So, but they're denying it. Said, no, that don't happen. We don't use duct tape. We don't, well, electrical tape. Electrical tape is black tape, I guess. We call it, the UK released plans to put electric car chargers in all the homes, and that is to make, and they'll have a payment plan for you, about £500 grant from the government, but otherwise have to cover the cost themselves, residents who want to install it in their home. All right, well, if they have to pay for it, I'm pretty sure it's going to take a little while for it to happen, unless you have an electric car. And, yeah. In artificial intelligence news, why AI has no idea what's in these mundane pictures. Okay, so this is good. This is a kink in the artificial intelligence overlords' plans. Basically, they're washed out in like a black and white yellow pictures, and they're very not clear. They're mixed in with there's what is that? There's like a dog in grass, and there's a butterfly on a wicker table, and just having trouble to decipher. Research discovers that 7,500 unmodified photographs of objects that are able to completely throw AI for a loop. A preprint of their research was published. So, okay. So, AI is not perfect. IBM unveils a new electronic tongue to taste and identify liquids. And that's cool. The applications for this are limitless. I mean, you can determine if water is poison, if milk is old without tasting it. I mean, you can get the exact recipe of your favorite cocktail. Let's say you go to a bar and you taste the best margarita you ever tasted, right? And you have your electric tongue taste it, and then you just take it to other bars, and the other bar will have a robot that analyzes it and makes it for you, and you can have your favorite drink perfectly made every single time. It also probably can check out water if it's poison or diluted in bad, areas where there's a lot of pollution and not a lot of clean water, and analyze what you're going to get. Say if you're dying of thirst, they're saying, see that puddle of water, that one's going to give you malaria about 20%. You're probably going to get sick in about 2 days, and you're going to need help. The other one's like, no, this is good. You can drink this for a while. It'll probably give you the shits, and it'll probably do that, so drink that water. So the applications are limitless. New AI identifies people by their minuscule eye movements. So basically, our eye movements are just as unique as our fingerprint. And I guess for like the movie where they pull the guy's eye out for a retinal scan, wouldn't work anymore because it needs to be alive. You got to bring the guy there, force him to put his eye in there. So that's not relevant anymore. But definitely, and I'm pretty sure they can check out stresses in your eye movement to see if you're in distress. But definitely, that's awesome. AI can do that. It's another step of security and personalization. But, you know, I mean, AI will be able to identify you if you wear a mask, change your hair, dye your skin, whatever, is still going to find you out just by that little movements of your eyes, because only you have those movements. They're unique to you. So there's a good and bad there. AI is helping scientists develop an invisibility cloak. And I read this, and basically, AI is creating metamaterials. It's synthetic materials that are able to do that. They can't be. I mean, they use the things in nature, but it doesn't grow naturally in nature. So, and these materials our natural properties are called metamaterials, and they're developing them in an incredible, and developing them are time consuming. Scientists first have to design the artificial atoms and terms for certain types of nanomaterials with increasingly specificity structural parameters, and then subject their creation to a thorough trial and error process. Right, oh sure, got to test it out. But now, a team of South Korean researchers have developed an AI capable of designing new metamaterials with specific optical properties, which they detail in their journal. AI can work faster than humans. Scientists believe it could dramatically speed up the metamaterial development process, perhaps even lead to discoveries of metamaterials that can make the wearer invisible. I mean, that's the holy grail, right? You put on some material. You ever watched Deep Space Nine? They fight a alien species called the Jem'Hadar, and the Jem'Hadar had cloaking technology not only on their ships but on their clothes. They would just come out of nowhere and grab you and subdue you. You couldn't see them coming. Before you know it, they're right next to you. So the military applications for invisibility cloaks are pretty impressive. I mean, if you get locked in security cameras, and the U.S. Marine Recon or the SEAL team are have invisibility cloaks, they can get right up to you, slit your throat, get in, and save the hostages. Whatever. Brave new world. First human drugs developed solely by AI is a vaccine. Ha. A vaccine, huh? Given to us by AI? That's very trusting. Well, I'm pretty sure the AI is not intelligent to know that humans are pretty crappy people sometimes, and they might want to curtail our birth rates. You never know. I'm pretty sure it's cool right now, and I'm pretty sure here's the good side. Let me just go for the optimism side. Is that vaccines for diseases? Once AI gets evolved, the testing and trial error process exponentially gets done faster, and it's able to crunch the data more. So you'll have twice as fast testing and less trial and error, because it's able to crunch numbers. It already knows if this doesn't work and that doesn't work, these will never work. And we'll see diseases being cured by vaccines created by artificial intelligence. But If the artificial intelligence, and here's the bad part, and for those who are afraid of artificial intelligence, they could simply put anything in that vaccine to cure the one thing, but sort of pull back the birth rates, and the women will stop having as many births. They'll have stillborn, or the worst. Thinking of the worst. they don't have. They can create a disease if they really feel they should take over the world. Now, I hope that doesn't happen. Some believe that might happen if we give AI too much power, but it's on this headline because it catches the people's imagination, knowing that the good and the bad coming with AI creating vaccines for the human race. And in Earth sciences, the Earth's core is leaking, baffling scientists. The Earth's core has been leaking into layers of the planet for the past 2.5 billion years. It turns out that tungsten from the core has been filtering out into the mantle, occasionally even migrating further out into the surface of the Earth's crust. Aside from revealing that the Earth has some bad plumbing, it also the first indication that the inner layer of our planet swaps materials. Let's keep on reading here. A team of scientists from the US, Canada, France, and Australia found that the ratio of tungsten and hafnium found in materials from the core and mantle have shifted by 200 parts per million, according to researchers published in the last month's journal. Scientists aren't sure why the core is leaking, though an essay last week research possibly explains related to plate tectonics change that occurs as the Earth initially formed. All right, so this could have been a problem a long time ago. They discovered that the Earth is leaking, and probably always has been leaking. It's probably something that comes with planets and that have a hot core, but we just discovered it. It's not just happened, so we'll see what happens there. Enhanced humans. Elon Musk Neuralink will use lasers to drill holes in your head. Nice. The Neuralink will be able to have you download your consciousness. That's the end result of this. Being able to transfer your consciousness into the internet, like Ready Player One, and maybe store your consciousness when your body dies. Imagine, us collectively as a society, if we can download our consciousness into an artificial world, we really don't have to die, right? If we can prove that we can take our consciousness out and store it somewhere else, and maybe and we can really prove that it's no longer in our body, but it's stored inside, and then bring it back, and we can do that, then when the body dies, your consciousness is stored, and you live like Ready Player One. You live in this new reality, but you just don't have a physical body anymore. But your existence doesn't have to go at all. So instead of drilling holes in your head, the lasers will do it, and it's supposed to be way less invasive. So good for Elon Musk. I guess the big part of that is to get people. Sorry, let me shift myself here. I'm sitting very uncomfortably and it's hurting my back. Oh man, James. Damn it. All right, here we go. Sorry. I digress. So yeah. So the way they can do it now is to drill tiny holes, and the vibrations hurt a lot. But lasers is not drilling. It's not there's no propulsion going so fast of a turning, spinning needle drilling into your head, making microfractures. The intense laser will just burn through, get him in there a lot more efficiently. And here's another headline that comes together with this idea: neural implant sends camera feeds into blind people's brains. So you need to understand this. This is big stuff here, because see, our veins and our nerves that send what we see to our brain can now be hooked up to a camera and just forego our shitty eyes, because eyes are pretty shitty. I mean, it's impressive that God made them, and whether it's through evolution or however you want to believe these things, I'm not going to get into that right now. But eyes are amazing, but they're very vulnerable and pretty shitty, and they're pretty limited. And we say that after the fact of having them for a long time. But if they can put a camera on your, if you can wear glasses, and when the camera's on the glasses, feed into your brain like you're looking through eyes, that's a game changer. Sooner or later, they're going to be artificial eyeballs will be put into our eyes, and we'll be able to see far distances than normal. We'll be able to zoom like a camera. We'll be able to read up close. We'll be able to analyze. I mean, sky's the limit. How technical we can make that eyeball determines what we can analyze with our eyes. Could we go down to the microscopic if we choose to? I mean, if you have the money to pay for that type of eye. I mean, can you imagine doctors looking over a patient, cutting them open? Let's say he has one good eye, one regular eye, and one artificial eyes that can zoom in to see the micro tears and the problems. Being able to analyze and see things that the human eye can't. Imagine walking into Macy's and you're looking at this shirt, and it says this exact shirt is at the 99-cent store, and it costs $30 here, but it costs $1 there. I mean, the applications are limitless. Actually, cops can no longer turn off their cameras. Their eyes are cameras, and it gets stored and uplinked to a server, and we can watch everything they're doing. And imagine hacking people's eyes and seeing what they see. Imagine people selling. Imagine women, prostitutes, selling time on their eyes while they're with a customer. Possibilities are endless. So, they perfect this technology, and your eyes are shitty, you're going to get some new eyes. Brave new world. New mind control robot arm, first to work without brain implants. So you can get a brain implant to control your robotic arm, or skip the risky and expensive surgery in favor of a device that senses your brain waves outside your skull, but puts control over the bot will be jerky and not nearly as precise. Now, a team from Carnegie Mellon University is narrowing the gap between those two options, creating the first non-invasive mind control robot arm to exhibit the kind of smooth, continuous motion reserved only for systems involving brain implants, putting us one step closer to the future in which we can all use our mind to control the tech around us. Get that? Who needs Siri? I mean, for your house, right? I mean, you can turn on your TV with your mind. You can change the channel with your mind. You know, there's a saying that things in the future that advanced technology it would be considered magic 100 years ago, and you can't make and you wouldn't know the difference. Now we're able to put on the stove, turn on the lights, turn on the air conditioner, all with your mind while you're driving. Control your car with your mind. The applications are limitless. You know what's going to get it faster to everyone? Is when capitalists get a hold of it and get rich people to buy it. And when enough rich people buy it, the price will lower and it'll come down to the common man like us. So, capitalism and rich people, get on it. Be the guinea pig. Start buying that new tech. We appreciate it. At least I do. Here we go. 5 couples agreed to CRISPR their babies to avoid deafness. This is a start, right? Now their child will be able to hear Mozart. Would be able to hear the Beatles. Would be able to hear his mother's voice. Hear a joke. Feel intense music. You ever put your fingers in your ears when you're watching a scary movie? It's not as scary anymore. It's the music that makes it intense. Genetically altering our children is a way of the future. And this is my biggest worry. Not really for right now. Artificial intelligence is not as much the threat as a group of people in our society who are genetically enhanced that all the jobs will go to because they're smarter, faster, tougher, because they've been genetically enhanced that way. And they'll get all the hard jobs that take an extreme amount of strength, an extreme amount of intelligence, will all go to these genetically altered people, which will create a divide in society for those who are genetically enhanced and those who are not. And as people feel marginalized, you get an unstable society. Because there's no difference between a black man and a white man. But there is a difference between a man and a woman. And women have to fight hard to get the same rights because men are genetically, physically stronger. Not more intelligent. I didn't say that. Don't say I said that. But in general, more stronger. And women, because of this genetic advantage by men, have had to take the back seat. But as society's gotten better because of Western culture, and there's technologies that don't need men to use their brute strengths as much, women are able to take a bigger role in society that is equal to men. Because it's not about brute strength anymore. It's about intelligence. And there's been a lot of protest and upheaval that for women trying to get these equalities, evening things out, so they can, with their mind, do the things that men do with their minds. And whoever let the best mind win. Because women are not limited by intelligence. And where women are different, that's an asset. And where men are different, that's an asset. But here comes a group of people who've been genetically altered, who are smarter than those who were born naturally, stronger than those who've been born naturally, see better, hear better, look better. How do you cross that gap? That's a brave new world, people. Science leaders, we can't stop Russians' plans for CRISPR babies. Same thing with China. Let me tell you something. If the United States sits on its ass and does not stop China or Russia from genetically altering their babies to be more advanced, better fighters, we either got to stop them or join them. Or their third and more devastating choice, be ruled by them. They know where the future lies. And America, to keep its freedom and livelihood, needs to set a group of people. And last but not least, there is now a tongue spray that will help you stop smoking weed. Let's put aside the assertion your college roommate would insist that weed isn't addictive. Reality, anything can be addictive. According to Bernard Alfol, the head of the Transitional Addiction Research at Toronto Center of Addiction and Mental Health, marijuana is no exception. There is no doubt that cannabis is addictive. The clinical scientist who wasn't involved in the Australian study told it is estimated that 9% of users' lifetime will develop cannabis dependency. A large fraction will develop a loss of control of their use lose control of their use at some point in time of their life. Okay. I think he's talking about addictive personalities or anything that you tend to love. I mean, you can be addicted to a person because you love them. So in that case, yeah, he's right. You could be addicted to anything, and this spray will stop that. He probably lost his girlfriend to some guy who takes weed, and she fell in love with weed, and now he's screwing people, and now he wants to get back at weed smokers. Who knows? That's it, folks. I hope you liked this version. What do they call that? This episode of Headlines from the World of Futurism. So, my friends, if you want to follow me on Instagram, on all social media platforms, just type in James Salazar Media. I should come up. Please review the podcast and leave a review, and subscribe if you haven't subscribed. I would greatly appreciate it. Just trying to do the thing. Trying to come out with my blog. I was planning to come out this week. It's just filming yourself is a whole different dynamic than recording yourself. So there's a lot of things I need. Lighting, it needs to look better. I need to find a right place to do it, and doing it in the dark, doing it. There's a lot of noisy places. I could do it where I record, but it's too dingy. So. But I think I found the problem. So until then, my friends, if the storm of life comes against you and you find yourself on your knees, stand up tall and take a look at that storm and say what my sensei Jack Burton always says: give me your best shot. Strike the music.